Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had an amazing week. For those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here. We're here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, faithfully at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, welcome back and thanks so much for joining today. And for those of you who are watching the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And thanks again so much for joining. And thanks for you guys who are joining here today. Good evening. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. Today, I am in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, and I am hoping that I will get to see your comments this week. I don't know what's happened over the last couple of weeks for some reason. Yes, I can see comments. Hooray. All right. I love when I can actually see you all's comments. And grateful for you too to be here. Welcome back. Someone's here from Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome, welcome. Again, let me know in the chat where you are tuning in from today. Brooklyn, New York, Georgia, Maryland, Chicago, Dallas, Texas. Welcome, welcome, and thanks again for joining. So you know what? Actually, I just remembered that there was someone last week who asked about, before I get started today, who asked about devotionals. So we were talking, we've been talking over the last couple of months about what can you do for yourself. Of course, if you're new to Mental Health Moment, it's all about how to be the best version of yourself so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for those around you. And I know someone asked me about the devotionals, so I am going to show you today. But again, please use whichever devotional works for you or not. That was just one example of something you can do. But thanks for those who are still starting to tune in here. It's Dr. Hammond here. Houston's in the house. Someone else from Dallas, Texas, Pennsylvania, Indianapolis, Riverside, California, Harlem, Albany, New York, Killeen, Texas, Southern California, Charlotte, Vegas. So welcome, welcome, and thanks again so much for joining here. So I wanted to ask you all today, and you could put in the chat, have you thought of your word or your phrase going into this new year, going into 2024 before we know it, which is insane. You all, the time is flying. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Ontario, Canada, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Welcome, welcome. So have you thought of your word or your phrase? And if you have, you can put it in the chat. But going into 2024, what is it that you really want to focus on for you? The reason why this is important, I love having a word or phrase every year, is because I promise you there just will be things that come up in the year. Like that's just how our lives are, right? It's full of surprises sometimes. Sometimes it's amazing. Maybe you look back on this year and you're like, this was the most amazing year of my life. Maybe you were like, was the most stressful year, or somewhere in between, which is okay. But again, how are you starting your mindset into even going into this new year? Ohio's in the house. Welcome, welcome. So let me know again in the chat if you have that word or phrase going into this new year, that the word or phrase that you really want to cling to. So my word for 2023, which has taken on different meanings throughout this year. So be careful what word or phrase you choose. But what I chose at the beginning of the year anyhow was all in. That was my phrase, meaning in everything that I did, I would put my full energy, my full time, my full effort, just all in all the endeavors that I was doing. And then a lot of things happened this year, and towards the end of the year, it takes on a different meaning, but nonetheless, all in. That was my phrase. So again, for you, you may be we're all in different seasons. You may be in a season. I see someone here said like harvest time, right? You may be in the harvest time season. You're like, okay, going into next year, that's where you're trying to be at. Or you may be in a season where you're planting seeds, right? You're planting, like you're ready for growth, but you're at the beginning of whatever project, situation, self-care, well-being, wherever you're at. And again, there are no right or wrong answers. We are all at different places. Maybe you did so amazing with whatever plans and goals you had this year, or not. And you're like, you know what? I need a restart or recharge. It's all good. One of the hardest things with mental health, you all, is that, or what I've seen and observed, is that a lot of us spend a lot of time in self-blame, and it's hard. It is hard, I will admit, with just negative thinking. But when we get out of the self, or do our best to get out of the self-blame mode and instead celebrate even the baby steps, it takes on a whole new meaning. Because I know a lot of you, because you're here on Mental Health Moment, I know a lot of you are trying and doing things to move forward. So let me read some of your responses so far. Let's see. So someone said renewal. I love that word. It's actually a very powerful word, which has many different meanings, of course. Let me also preface and say your word or phrase for the next year, for 2024 coming up here, make sure that it's something very meaningful and personal to you, because that's going to be really important to whatever it is for you that gets you through whatever season that you know you're in or you want to be in going into this new year. Like, let's start with that mindset. And know, again, that bumps come along the way. Like, disappointments come, setbacks, or positive things too. Like, things, life happens. But what is your word or phrase to work on getting through? Someone else said, I'm so excited. Oh, I love you too. Love hearing from you. Beautiful. I love hearing from you too. I'm glad you're here. Someone said, yes, my 2025 word, intentional. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And yes, please be intentional, especially in you choosing this word or phrase. It, you know, I will say, before I'm going to read some of your other comments here, but I will say, when it comes to words and phrases, we really take them for granted. Words are so powerful. You like, what you say and what you think are so powerful in your life, which is why I wouldn't say to take this lightly, to like, oh, I'm just going to choose a word or phrase. No, like, really, what is it that resonates with you? What is it that you're like, man, I really want to move into this season of my life. I'm really attempting to do whatever it is. Again, if it's reset, recharge, slow down, speed up, it's what is it for you? And only you should have this word or phrase, meaning don't worry about anybody else, what anybody else is telling you need to have for your word or phrase. Because people will, well, that's a whole nother mental health moment. People will tell you how they want you to live your life, but for you, what is it that brings you joy? What is it that makes you excited? What is it that fuels you? What is your passion? How are you doing healthy things for you? Those are the things that are most important, which may or may not be what other people want for you. Just saying. Again, whole nother mental health moment. Okay, I digress. All right. So someone else said restoration. Ooh, that's another really good word. I like that so much. Restoration. And again, that has a lot of different meanings. You have to always be asking yourself, you all, where do you need this restoration? For those of you who are in that season, is it mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally? Like, where do you, or all of them, all the above? You might be like, I'm checking all the boxes, which is nothing wrong with that. But where do you need that restoration? So really being in tune with where you're at. Someone said, working smarter, not harder. I love that. Yes, that's a whole theme. That's a whole theme. You got to put that everywhere. Put that in your phone, put that around you, wherever you can see. Work harder, work smarter, not harder. I love it. Someone said peace, beautiful, beautiful thing. Harvest time, we talked about that earlier. Heard voice, balance. Austin, Texas is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Someone said, what God has for me is for me. Absolutely. Another mental health moment. But I hope that is a theme for many of you. And again, mental health moment is for all races, religions, ethnicities, gender, whether or not it's God for you or some other higher power or not a higher power at all. Just know that there are a lot of things that will happen, and a lot of them are for your benefit. You may not see them in the moment as that, and especially the hard times, but there's a lot of life lessons that you can get out of things that happen. We talked about that actually a lot of mental health moments ago too. We've been talking about life lessons. Someone said planting. Ooh, and see, I love that, because you all are talking about the beauty of what you all are saying in the comments. First of all, thank you for sharing. But it's literally just proof that all of us are in different seasons. What I feel happens so often, especially online, especially in social media, when we see the quotes or we see, and I'm all about quotes and all about the self-help and all the inspiration, but sometimes we see things and you're like, that doesn't really apply to me, right? Like someone's like, yeah, speed up. Like it's the end of the year. Like go hard. And you're like, man, I'm trying, I'm trying to be in my like reset time. Like I need time to relax or I need time to recharge, which is fine. Or you may be seeing the opposite things online and social media that's telling you like slow down and get rest. And you're like, no, I have my momentum. Like I want to speed up and do things. So again, it's about recognizing within you what is best for you at this time. What is best for you today may not be the same thing that's best for you 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and a year from now. And that's okay, which is why it's important for you to check in with yourself. But I love that. Planting. Someone said they're in planting season. Someone said they're in harvest season. They're like, I've been planting my seeds. Now I'm trying to harvest. Great. Someone said focus on self-development. I love to hear that. I hope each and every one of you are focused on that. And as an aside, before I read some of these other comments here, I hope that each and every one of you have already made your wellness goal, if you will, your mental health wellness goal for next year as well. So you may have goals in a lot of other departments like making money or losing weight or those sorts of things. Those are pretty common goals, but also for you, for your self-care, for your own well-being, what is your goal? And someone said focus on self-development. I love it. It's definitely a lifelong process, you all. Someone said to stay in alignment with my divine design. I love that. Ooh, it's so nice. It's so beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Love it. Someone said their phrase for 2024 is all about me with 2 exclamation points. I love it. Listen, you all, self-care is not selfish. Focusing on yourself is not a selfish thing to do. If you believe that, and it's okay if you do, because we're all at different states, if you believe that, your goal should be to work on unlearning that because it is not true. It is okay. I preach this nowadays, like make yourself your number one priority. What happens when you do that? You work on your well-being, you work on your mental health, you work on your, maybe it's physical health, mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health, your financial health, your relationship health. You work on you first and then you become the best version of who you are so you can show up for yourself and show up in the best version of who you are for those around you. Wouldn't you want that for people that you care about and hopefully you're working on, if you're not there yet, caring about yourself? Wouldn't you want that? So again, that person that said all about me, I hope that is the case for many of you. And again, if you're at the point, which is okay, if you're like, man, I'm struggling with self-love, I'm struggling with forgiving myself for something, I'm struggling with some hardships, I'm struggling to get to that point, it's okay. It's a journey and a process, but you have to start it. And you can take baby steps to start, but you have to start it. Someone said they're here from Jamaica. Welcome. George is in the house as well. Beautiful. Someone said restore my mental, physical, and financial state. Wonderful. Peace, love, and gratitude. Blessings to you as well. Oh, I like that. Someone said very succinctly that their word for 2024 is build. Build. Like that is actually, it's a pretty powerful word. But the good news is, again, we're in different places, right? We're all in different places mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So if you're in build mode, you want to go hard, great. As long as you take care of yourself too. If you're in restore mode, like many of you, someone else said, restore mental, physical, and financial status, then be in the restoration mode. If you're in the reset mode, the relax mode, everything is important. The most important thing is to know what it is that you need and then to execute on that. Someone said, learn from listening. I love that. Beautiful, beautiful. Words of wisdom. What does it say? Words of wisdom from you, for example. Beautiful, patience. Ooh. You all, they say, I don't know about you all, they say patience is a virtue. Patience is really hard sometimes. I don't know if I'm alone in this, if you guys can relate, but patience is hard sometimes. Like you're just like, man, I have these goals or I have whatever it is that I want or I need and it's not happening. And why isn't it happening? And what's going on with the timing? Like patience is hard. But no, I'm kidding. I love that as a word. It's a great word. It's just knowing, again, we all have different levels of patience. Some days I just don't have a lot of patience. Like I just want things to be done in the way it's done and just really fast. But it's all about divine timing, right? So I love that word. I just chuckle because it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one sometimes. Someone said, I must get used to making me a priority. Yes. And know that many of you watching this, I know we're watching all different ages and stages of life, but it's not necessarily your fault if you're at a point where you haven't made yourself a priority. I know years past, I did not make myself a priority at all. So I'm also speaking personally from experience. And let me tell you, like I was not high up on the priority list. Everything else around me was, which leads to burnout. Highly would not recommend going that route. But when you do recognize that you are allowed to make yourself a priority, and if you're struggling with that concept, just know, if it helps you at all, if you're the type of person that's like, I need to put everybody else above me, or all your other priorities above you, just know that when you do make yourself your number one priority and you do work on bettering yourself, it's not just for you. Like it's going to spill out to other people. Like it's going to affect other people in your life in a positive way. If you are better, if you are healthier, if you're doing better mentally and physically and spiritually and emotionally and financially, like if you're doing better, you have a better opportunity to help those around you in a better way because you've worked on your own healing journey. Like that's the most beautiful thing. Like you work on you, right? And then you be in this place, this healed place, this powerful place, this healthy place, and then you better help people around you. So it's really a win-win. It's really just not a selfish thing. It sounds selfish, but it's not. So make yourself your number one priority. Someone said they're here from Chicago. Welcome. Miami's in the house as well. Someone said forgiveness, freedom from poverty, redemption for our family, and resilience. Ooh, very good. I love it. I love it. Resilience is also very powerful, you all. And for those of you who are just joining here, we are putting, or everyone is putting in the chat here, their word or phrase for 2024, because before you know it, which is insane, you all, we're heading into a new year. So it's really important, well, not just heading into a new year, but at any points of the year, for you to be checking in with yourself, for you to be asking yourself, what do you need? And for you to be intentional in your wellness journey. Be intentional. Very important. That was my phrase, I think it was like 2 years ago. But be intentional for whatever you choose to work on bringing into the new year. Someone said, learn to pour into myself first to be able to pour into others secondly. Yes. You all, well, many of you have probably heard you can't pour from an empty cup, right? We've heard that many, many times, and it's absolutely true. Like even if your cup's not empty, but it's like a teaspoon of water in, right in your cup, like why would you want to give that little bit? Like here's a teaspoon for you, right? When you can fill yourself up with emotional health, with good physical health, with doing well for yourself, and then the abundance, like the being the best version of you and having that around you, like spreading that around you, like that's a beautiful thing. That's a gift actually that you're giving to others as well. Someone said, restart the journey, taking care of my stress levels. Good tips for the new year. Yes. And again, if you're at the restart mode, it's all good. You get to restart. That is the beauty of this. You get to restart. You get to restart. Years ago, when I was like, you know what, this ain't working. Like choosing to not get barely any sleep, choosing to go hard, choosing to not take care of my physical health, mental health, all those sorts of things, like doesn't work. And why would I want to bring that into other people around me instead of being a better version of myself and then allowing myself to really help people in a better way and to have more income, impact, all those sorts of things, right? Like, why wouldn't we want that? So yes, you get to restart the journey at any time. Someone said, my strongest weakness is patience. Yes, it is hard to be patient. I think we did that a while back, a mental health moment about that, but that is a whole nother journey. Yes. It's hard to be patient sometimes. Someone said, you're not alone. I speak what I am and watch words because words are powerful. Yes, words are extremely powerful, you all. Yes, words are extremely powerful. More to come on that. There's some other things I'm going to talk about that later on about that. But yes, words are very powerful. Someone said decolonization, self-love, knowing your self-worth. Beautiful, beautiful. It's in this. Those are actually, yeah, those three things are very powerful. It is a journey, you all. Back when I used to do therapy, I do not do therapy now. As a psychologist, I do some evaluations when I'm in my office. I speak to different communities. I'm working with corporations now to talk about different ways to do burnout prevention. So I'm doing all these, a lot of different things in the space of mental health awareness, because I'm very passionate about that. But way back when, 15 years ago, when I started my practice, I did do some therapy for a little bit of time. And I remember, and I'm not faulting the people coming in, the clients that came in, but I remember there was this notion of like, okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do a session or two and I'm good. And it's like, no, like this is a journey and a process, right? So I want to remind you of that. Some of you all, and I love your words and I love your phrases, but also know that a lot of things take time and it's okay. Like you were on the journey of it rather than like next year you're going to have self-love or next year you're going to have, whatever it is. And next year these things are going to come to pass in the next month or two. Like it might not be that fast, or learning patience, right? It might not be that fast, but it's okay. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of being better. Someone said, energy. Ooh, with the exclamation point. I love that. Energy. Energy is very powerful, you all. Energy. That's a great word for 2024. Someone said, airline stewardess, have it correct. Put your mask on first. Yes. Yes, you do want to do that. Yes. Someone else said, keep it moving. Listen, I love it. I love it. I love these phrases. Someone said 2024, continue to protect my peace and positive energy. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Someone said, I'm starting a new job after 22 years managing teams. The hardest thing I've done in my life, but I chose it for my mental stability. I chose me and my peace. Beautiful. Love to hear that. Yes. Please choose your peace of mind for 2024. Actually choose it right now. Choose it always, not just for next year, but please think about how you can work on that as well. And it's a cycle, you all. Sometimes we get into times where we're like, man, I got peace of mind. And then something pops up, life happens. And we might go down this stressful type of thinking, but then hopefully we can come back. Like, okay, let me get back to, right, our peace of mind. And then something else is happening. But our goal, hopefully, is that we continue to come back to finding our peace of mind. So I love that. And thank you all for sharing that. Beautiful, beautiful. It's interesting. I was having a conversation today. Well, a quick check-in with one of my coaches today. And I think my word for 2024, my personal word for 2024 is definitely going to be perspective, because there's just a lot going on. A lot going on in the world, a lot going on personally, professionally, and all these things, great things and challenging things, and a lot of things happening all at once. And talking with my coach today, I recognized he reminded me to think about the perspective of things, which is, yes, very important for each and every one of us. Sometimes we stress about some things, and when we really take a step back and put it into perspective and recognize how blessed we still are and how grateful we should be, because some of the things that we think are, just major things in the scheme of life aren't. They aren't. They might not be things that are even going to affect us in the next couple months or couple years. Like it's just, we have to really keep putting things into perspective. So that's my word for 2024, just to continue to recognize that. But thank you all for sharing your words. Someone said 2024, praying to God for the strategy to follow him more and get out of my own way. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. I love that. And it's true. You all, a lot of times we do intentionally or unintentionally get in our own way. Sometimes we can overthink things. We could just be caught up in what's happening in our personal lives, or maybe it's professional lives, or getting caught up with what's happening in the news and social media and all these sorts of things. Like it can be a lot to juggle. And we're in our own way sometimes, of our own accomplishments, of our own goals that we set, but absolutely working again to have clarity, working again on resetting, working again on recharging, and again, doing what is best for you. So if you did share tonight or whatever time, wherever you are in the world, whatever time of day this is when you're watching this, if you did share your comments about your word or your phrase, thank you. If you're like, man, I don't know yet, I'm still thinking about it, take the time you need, think about it, but make sure you are intentional in what you're choosing, because again, words are very powerful. So your word or your phrase, very powerful. Take it to heart, put it around you where you can see it. I'm going to be writing mine on my dry erase board that's here, and just some other places where I can see it and be reminded. Again, for me, next year, that's about perspective, just to be reminded of things. But I encourage you to really take that step. If you haven't already, find your word, find your phrase, cling to it, be reminded of that moving into this new year here, and be blessed. Yep, someone said no more self-sabotage. That's a really great goal. So if you all need me at any time, you can always reach out, drnikishahammond.com. You can connect with me on Instagram, dr.hammond, or Facebook, LinkedIn, Dr. Nikisha Hammond, or any other social media platform. I'm usually sending out some type of mental health resource or inspirational quote or some type of motivational message, because we need to do our best to stay uplifted. Oh, you're absolutely welcome. So I will see you all next week. If you do, yes, it'll be after Christmas. So if you do celebrate Christmas, Merry early Christmas. But I'll see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Have an amazing week. Be blessed, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.